Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not just going to talk about change, we're actually going to build a 90-day roadmap to make it inevitable, all by using the timeless, hard-hitting principles of Napoleon Hill. So let's dive right in, because the very first step is taking a hard look in the mirror. So let's start with a question Napoleon Hill himself would probably ask you. And it's a tough one, it's designed to cut right through all the noise and get to the core reason you might feel stuck. Wrestling with that one question that probably keeps you up at night. I start things, so why on earth do I always stop? All right, so first things first, we have to identify the real enemy here. And it's probably not what you think. It isn't a lack of talent or a lack of opportunity. No, it's that vicious cycle of starting with a huge blaze of glory and then just fizzling out when the real work begins. A trap that, let's be honest, gets almost everyone. And get this, according to Hill's philosophy, that is the staggering percentage of people who spend their entire lives starting, but never, ever finishing. You know the cycle, right? Your morning starts with hope, the afternoon gets lost in excuses, and the night ends with this deep sense of regret, all buried under those three fatal words, "I'll start tomorrow." So what's the real problem here? Here's the kicker. It's not about finding more motivation. It's about breaking an addiction to that temporary dopamine rush you get from a new idea. You see, that feeling is like a flash flood, not a steady river. It feels incredibly powerful for a moment, but then it's gone just as quickly, leaving you totally stranded. And you see, this is the predictable pattern that just eats away at your self-belief. Every single time you break a promise to yourself, it's like taking a tiny chisel to your own foundation of confidence. And over time, you actually stop believing you can achieve anything at all. Okay, so let's shift gears here. Enough about the problem, right? Let's talk about the solution. And we're going to do that by focusing on the small, really elite group of people who consistently break this cycle. And well, they achieve extraordinary things. And wow, this is where the difference between the two groups just becomes crystal clear. It's not magic, it's not luck that separates these two groups. No, it's a fundamental strategic difference in how they approach taking action. So, when you boil it all down, what's the secret? It's this. The 3% have developed a kind of superpower. And you know what it is? They embrace boredom. They have this amazing ability to do the repetitive, the unglamorous work, day in and day out, long after that initial excitement has totally vanished. They trust the system, not their feelings. That's huge. I mean, in his masterpiece, Think and Grow Rich, Hill identifies persistence as the absolute cornerstone of all success. Think of it this way. Desire is the seed, sure, but persistence, that's the water, the soil, the sunlight, the whole shebang. Without it, even the greatest ideas in the world just wither and die. And the great thing is, Hill's philosophy isn't just some abstract theory. It gives us a real, concrete foundation for building that persistent mindset. We can actually break it down into 7 core principles, and these will become the pillars for the temple of your life. Now, these aren't just suggestions. They are the architectural blueprints. You've got your definite chief aim, knowing exactly where you're going, a well-organized plan breaking things down into tiny steps, persistence, seeing failure as a teacher, the mastermind group, because who you're around matters, the power of your subconscious mind through daily repetition, quick decision-making to kill procrastination, and finally, action over overthinking. Each one supports the others, creating a structure that can pretty much withstand any storm. All right, now for the good stuff. Let's see how we can take these pillars and build an actual, actionable 90-day plan. And to really set the stage for this, let me tell you a quick but really powerful story about what true consistency looks like. So, the story goes, there was this ordinary artisan in a tiny village, and one day he announces he's going to build this magnificent temple on top of a really treacherous hill. He had no money, no fancy tools, no help. And of course, the villagers, they ridiculed him. "You're a fool," they said. But here's the thing. The artisan, he didn't argue. He didn't try to convince them. He just made one tiny, simple, unbreakable rule for himself. Every single morning, before sunrise, no matter what, he would carry one, just one, medium-sized stone to the top of that hill. That's it. Just one. So 5 years go by. And then one morning, the villagers wake up and they see the sun glinting off something on the hill, a golden dome. A stunning, breathtaking temple was standing there. And when they asked him how he performed this miracle, he just showed them his calloused hands and said, it wasn't magic, it was math. One stone every day. And that story, right there, That is your roadmap. For the first 30 days, your only job is to carry your stone. Just show up for 5 minutes. That's it. We are not worried about results. The only thing that matters is attendance. Then, in that second month, something really cool happens. Your identity starts to shift. You're not trying to do it anymore. You are the person who does this. And in those final 30 days, that's momentum. The train is at full speed, and frankly, it becomes harder to stop than to continue. So here we are. You're standing at a crossroads. One path looks easy. It's crowded, it's comfortable. The other one? Well, it's steep, it's lonely, and it's going to demand everything from you. You have to choose. And this is the choice, laid out plain and simple. The pain of discipline, it feels heavy today, but really, it weighs grams. But the pain of regret, that feeling of what if, that's a burden you carry for a lifetime. That weighs tons. One path ends in a legacy. The other ends in the quiet decay of what you could have been. And as you're making that choice, remember this incredible insight from Hill, that feeling you get. You know, the laziness, that moment you fail, that little voice in your head telling you to just quit, that's not a stop sign. No way. That's the test. It's the gatekeeper that stands between you and that top 3%. And passing that test is the only way in. And that brings us to the final, most crucial point of all. Starting something, that's common. Anybody can start. But finishing? Finishing is legendary. History doesn't give a damn about your brilliant plans or your initial burst of enthusiasm. It only remembers what you completed. So the question I'll leave you with is this: will it remember you?